Hello, welcome to the Tutor Training Workshop for LifeSTEM Academy tutors and just for anyone who wants to improve their math tutoring ability. My name is Amos Tarfa and I'll be going over some resources to help you become a better tutor. I have been involved in tutoring mathematics now for about 15 to 20 years in different capacities, and I am excited to share with you the things I've learned. Right out of high school, I did a little bit of helping around in the neighborhood on academic stuff. It was a very short time, but I spent more of my time in 2006 traveling around Abuja, sharing study skills with students. But between 2007 and 2010, during my undergraduate years, I was involved in the math lab and I taught math there, and I just loved watching people get it, understand the concepts, right? Because the interesting thing about math is that it's gettable, right? 1 plus 1 is 2. The confidence with which a person can explain 1 plus 1 is 2, that confidence can go into almost any topic they learn in the K-12 space, right? I can't guarantee it for advanced mathematics and quantum mechanics and quantum physics, but I can guarantee it for basic mathematics, algebra 1, algebra 2. We want students to see the pattern. That's what really matters, right? So let me go over a few resources available to our students. The first resource for our students is the Inspirational Mathematics series that I put together with Nathan Josette. The Inspirational Mathematics series is just a guide that has some textbooks students can use along the way, but it's a guide. Here's what I mean. When you open Inspirational Mathematics 1, for example, the very first thing it talks about is Introduction to Whole Numbers. It teaches students what is a whole number. How do you know if something is greater than or less than? How do you know how to order numbers in a number line? Notice that we're starting very basic, right? So every student, no matter what textbook they use, needs to know a lot of these concepts for their math flourishing. So we want all our tutors to know that Inspirational Mathematics 1, 2, and 3 are available for them to use with their students. So Inspirational Mathematics 1 covers concepts in pre-algebra. That's the traditional pre-algebra. And pre-algebra is actually a very tricky word. It's tricky because pre-algebra is simply saying before algebra. So that means first grade math is before algebra, right? So believe it or not, there's many universities in America where students start in their freshman year and they do pre-algebra. That's actually a fact, right? The pre-algebra textbook we use with Inspirational Mathematics 1 was written for a college setting, believe it or not. And guess what the first topic has to do with? Place value. Then they have a whole section on addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Please, I am not trying to make you feel bad if you are in a college setting and you're doing addition, subtraction, multiplication. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to deal with the root problem of American math education, which is that mastery is not occurring as it ought to. So if you're in college, you can take my counting to calculus course, or you can just follow the principles I'm teaching. You can still become a great math student. Do not give up. Do not feel like your math education was terrible so you can't go far in life. You can go far in life, okay? So that's number one, is pre-algebra. So that's Inspirational Mathematics 1. Then we have Inspirational Mathematics 2, which is Algebra 1, okay, Algebra 1, Algebra 2. So you go Algebra 1 and 2 back to back. They have so much in common that it just makes sense to learn them together, right? Think of this as Algebra 1, think of this as Algebra 2, and then this is like what they share in common, right? That's the overlap they have. And you will notice things like graphing, factoring polynomials. Those topics are taught in both courses. So why not just take it in one sweep and learn it well? Now, this is interesting because in the third course we teach, which is a pre-calc course, geometry, like geometry literally can be done along the way as you do these. It doesn't need to be a standalone course. There's not enough material to nourish you in a traditional high school geometry course because they teach you things like perimeter, area of a circle. It's like, come on, you learned that in middle school, right? So I'm really sorry to break the news to you, but the American math curriculum is weak and very disjointed a lot of the time. So what we need to do is to help students see the path to calculus rather than them thinking, well, I'm in 7th grade, so I should do 7th grade math. There's no such thing as 7th grade math fundamentally. Pre-algebra is everything prior to algebra. Algebra 1 and 2 is the next thing in series, and then pre-calculus geometry, you can do those together as well. So we've taken 9 years of math teaching in America, and we say you could do it in 3 years comfortably. Like there's no reason we should be doing it in 9 years. And there's research that is coming out that I've seen, even from the founder of Elephant Math, that confirms what I'm saying. Okay, so tutors, I want you to just know the scope of what we're dealing with. These are the main courses that you will be dealing with. Pre-algebra, which would then eventually lead to fractions, decimals, percents, ratios, and proportions. We use the College of the Redwoods pre-algebra textbook. We have My Open Math. We have where we house the videos and the practice, which they can type in their answers and get it graded right away. So that's the first course that you should know students are going to be taking. Generally, these are students in 4th grade to 7th grade, okay? So this is 4th to 7th. Okay, very good. Then the next course is Algebra 1, Algebra 2. We really have to inspire students to see the benefit of just doing it all. Just go from the beginning to the end, from the beginning of Algebra 1 to the end of Algebra 2. But the funny thing is Algebra 2 and Pre-Calc also have overlap. Like the American math curriculum sometimes makes me just shake my head, like, why are we doing this? Now, I get it when there's review, and I get necessary review. I get it. But we shouldn't force students to all have to do 100 practice problems for a thing that they've mastered and that they're not necessarily wanting to do, right? If you've mastered it, you shouldn't have to do 100 problems, but some classrooms will make you do 50 problems of a concept you've mastered already. You should spend your time on the concepts that you're still trying to master. So, Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 are the two courses that should be done back to back. And then lastly, Pre-Calc and Geometry. At our tutoring center, or in our tutoring moments at LifeSTEM Academy and anywhere we have our tutoring centers, Life LLC centers, we want to have a space for people in pre-algebra. Like we want to give them a whole room where they're just working on pre-algebra concepts. Then we want to have the people in Algebra 1 and 2 to have a whole room where they're just working on Algebra 1 and 2 concepts, right? And the tutors can go around, see how things are going. And one of the things you do with the tutoring, well, first of all, you make sure that you have your CLEP materials as a tutor. Make sure you have all the CLEP materials ready so you can use practice problems from that to help your students to master their concepts. Number 2, every tutoring room should have booklets like this. This one is called Mastering Graphing. The idea is there's one on graphing, equations, inequalities, polynomials, rational expressions. So when a student comes for tutoring after school or during our tutoring moments during the school day, you just grab the appropriate book they need, you open to the practice for that topic, you have a ton of examples, and you explain, here's example 1. Here's example 2. Here's example 3. Here's example 4. And what are you looking for when you're working with your student? You want them to get it. You want them to see the pattern and be able to say, I see what the pattern is. Oh, I see. Every time this is there, I need a common denominator. In order to add fractions, I need a common denominator. So you're looking for examples to keep coming until the student masters the concept, until the student sees the pattern. Because mathematics is about patterns. At this stage in the game, they're just looking for patterns. Leonhard Euler, the great mathematician, the way he defined mathematics, this is how he defined it. Now remember, Euler is one of the most prolific. I mean, this guy wrote a lot of mathematics. The only other guy that apparently has written a lot of math like Euler is a man by the name of Paul Erdős. Paul Erdős was such an influential mathematician that people have something called an Erdős number. Right? I think that's an umlaut. So Erdős, Paul Erdős, was so good in math that if you've written a paper with him, you have an Erdős number of 1. I believe that's how they put it. If you've written a paper with him, you have an Erdős number of 1. If you've written a paper with someone who's written a paper with him, you have an Erdős number of 2. Notice that he was such an influential mathematician that they came up with this Erdős number 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Now, apart from Erdős, there's another mathematician, the one that I'm referring to right now, whose name is Euler, right? So Euler was a great Swiss mathematician who wrote a book called The Elements of Algebra, right? And this is his book written or published here. It says about 1828 is when it came out. Euler died in 1783. So he defines math as, in general, is the science. He said math in general is the science of quantity, or the science which investigates the means of measuring quantity. And then he goes on to explain what is addition, subtraction, multiplication. I love Euler's books. I think every tutor should read Euler's book. It's a good way to grow in your understanding of tutoring mathematics. Now, I'm focusing on math tutoring right now, but LifeSTEM Academy or Life LLC has chemistry, physics tutoring as well. But the principle is the same. Help your student to see the pattern, right? That's number 1. Teach them about the applications of the concept whenever you're able. Teach them about the applications of the concept. Teach them study skills as you work with them. So it's important to teach them the concept. It's important to teach them study skills along the way. It's important to teach them about careers and applications of the concept so that the students are thinking, and once they find that they love a certain career, right, they can then dive into that field of mathematics that they're learning better because they know that it's going to help them in some field later in life. So imagine if a student learns that this is what a medical physicist does. Now they have a goal to become a medical physicist, so they know they need to learn the math. They have a motivating factor. Okay, so our tutor training program will take about 4 weeks to complete. Students can start job shadowing while they're tutoring, but 4 weeks, we have about 8 videos for you to watch. You watch those 8 videos on Teachable. You could put check, 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 check as you go through them. And then I'll have questions once in a while that I might ask you as you're on the job. Are you aware of the principles for good tutoring? Are you aware of the importance of teaching study skills and career and application and so on and so forth? Those are very important things. So, the Tools for Mastering Mathematics is the other book. So our tutors are reading Elementary Algebra. That's for fun, though. I would say read Tools for Mastering Mathematics for sure, so that you understand the principles that can help students to master mathematics. Another bonus, right? So this is the main text for our course, is the Tools for Mastering Mathematics. But another bonus that will help you in life is the 7 Laws of Teaching. This is a printout of it. The 7 Laws of Teaching. The 7 Laws of Teaching is a book that our teachers at Lifestem Academy will get to review, but you can use it as a tutor to refine your skills. John Milton Gregory did a great job of explaining what it means to be a great teacher, and he had a lot of experience. I mean, from teaching himself, I think in Sunday school and different capacities, to be like a university president. That's someone who knows a lot about teaching. So let me talk a little bit more about the tutoring. The book Tools for Mastering Mathematics. On the very beginning, this book itself, a lot of it was out in September of 2015, so it's about 8 years now. It says, using the tools and resources we have been given to teach students to gain a love for learning that helps them to master the material we present to them so they become lifelong learners and individuals who make an impact in an age where people constantly ask about the relevance of the material they're learning. This is from 2015. I'm hoping that this will connect with individuals. This resource is for connecting with individuals who enjoy doing mathematics. By getting this material, you're now in touch with a group of individuals who enjoy doing mathematics. We want you to send your questions and so on. So if you're taking this course from wherever, email me if you have any questions. Okay, the book is divided into 3 parts. The first part is a philosophy of mathematics. The second part is a mathematics reference book. And the third part is the list of all the concepts that kids have to learn from kindergarten all the way to calculus, the beginning of calculus. So let's go to part 1. What is mathematics? How should students excel in it? What is mathematics and how should students excel in it? It has its own table of contents as well. Introduction. This is an article. It started out as an article. So this is an article right in the beginning of the book about learning and mastering principles in mathematics. It also gives teachers some ideas that could be used to inspire students as they proceed in their education. One of the things our students need today is math coaches. People who are willing and ready to inspire them to excel. For some students, math is not exciting. They sometimes think that they are not incapable and that math is just too hard. In this article, I want to show how math can be used as a tool to help students excel in academics and beyond. I want to show how math can be used as a tool to help students excel in academics and beyond, meaning that we're using the math as an opportunity to show them how to handle adversity, how to handle challenges, and how to overcome those challenges. Math is a fascinating subject, and you could say that about many other subjects, but math is a fascinating subject. But however, many students do not know what math even is and how they're supposed to excel in it. So they conclude that there's nothing fascinating about mathematics, and that is just not true. Many people never get to see what math really is and why they should appreciate it. People appreciate many other subjects, but then they either despise or give up trying to master mathematics. My goal is to show how a better understanding of mathematics can help students appreciate it more. If they appreciate it, then they are more likely to seek ways to master it. And I agree people can master it without appreciating it, but this does not always happen. I want people to not only do well in math, I actually want them to appreciate the beauty of math. Those are 2 things, right? I was talking to someone recently, and they said that they were good in math, but they didn't think math was cool or anything. I mean, it was okay. It's no big deal. But I think math is beautiful, right? The idea of systematic thinking is beautiful. So what is mathematics? Let's talk about some metaphors, and that will be the end of our first lesson. What is this thing called mathematics? Let me use some metaphors that could be used to describe mathematics. Mathematics is like a sport or a game with rules. Mathematics is like riding a bicycle. Mathematics is like building a house. Mathematics is a tool which can then be used to derive more tools. And mathematics is like an art. Let's break down a few of them. Mathematics is like a sport. It has rules and techniques, it has lessons, and it has challenges that help you grow, right? You think about, I play soccer, tennis, ping pong, and basketball, and I just think about the challenges I might face in soccer, right? And do I give up or do I keep trying? In math, you're going to face some challenges, but you should not give up. The interesting thing about math, though, is that with math, you know, when you play soccer, for example, and someone says, what is the point of soccer? Right? What's the point of the soccer itself? Most times you think, well, the soccer itself is not the only reason you play soccer. You have skills that you learn because you play soccer. That's the same way math is. What is the point of a sport in and of itself? Sometimes it doesn't have a point necessarily. However, it's about the skills you learn, the teamwork, the camaraderie, the discipline you learn while you play the sport. Math teaches you to think better. And so even if you don't care much about the topic you're learning to think better. That's what partly happens with math. So math is like a sport with rules and games. It's a great, I believe, a logical tool. Number two, it's like riding a bicycle. In the sense that if you master the concepts in mathematics, then 10 years from now, you might just need to review them and your brain can begin to sort of recalibrate and get to work understanding things. So math is like riding a bicycle. It's like building a house. You need the foundation to be solid, and in math, that's the way it is. You need a solid foundation, for example, in pre-algebra, in order to do algebra 1, algebra 2, in order to do pre-calc. Well, geometry, again, can be done all along on the side. Number 4, math is a tool. And it can be used to derive more tools, or topics in math are like tools. You can think of the first set of topics in math as tools that can be used to derive more topics later on. Students should make sure their tools are always in good shape so that they can create more tools when the need arises. Number 5, math is like an art. You are allowed to be creative in math as long as you obey the rules that govern the problems that you're solving. For example, when you are asked to find the missing length of a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle, so let's say we have a triangle like this. So let's say that's 45 degrees and that's 45 degrees. And then someone says, find the missing side, right? Well, there's a relationship called special triangles for a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So you can use, if I give you this as 1, right? And I tell you to find the missing sides. Well, this is also 1 over here. How do I find that missing side? I can use Pythagoras' theorem because it's a right triangle. I can also use the 45, 45, 90 relationship, which will show me that the answer is square root of 2, right? Pythagoras' theorem, I would have to do a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So that's 1 squared plus 1 squared is equal to c squared. So that's how we get c squared is equal to 2. And if you take the square root of both sides, c is equal to 2. Well, sorry, c is equal to the square root of 2. I apologize, that's what I meant. Now, that is the square root of a prime number, so this is actually going to become an irrational number as an answer. The square root of a prime number will become an irrational number. We're not going to simplify. You cannot, in normal terms, simplify the square root of 2. So that's where you stop, right? So we can find it using Pythagoras' theorem. We can also find it using the 45, 45, 90 relationship, which establishes that whatever this is will be the same value as this, and then this will just be whatever this value times square root of 2. There's a derivation for that. We're not going to do that today. The point I'm trying to show is that when you have a math problem, there's different ways to approach the problem. You don't always have to do it with one method. There's multiple methods. This is why it's important that our math coaches or our math tutors are like coaches, helping children to see the different ways to handle problems that they encounter. There's a lot more to talk about in our tutor training program. If you want to be a part of the tutor training program and you've seen this video and you want to improve on your tutoring skills, please send me an email and I'll get you the registration and we can go from there. We have more to cover and we'll do that in future videos. Thank you for watching this first lesson. Take care and have a blessed day.